It was the 70s. I was just a kid, only 12 years old, tagging along with my younger sister and our parents on a rural road north of Adelaide in South Australia. It was a lazy Sunday evening, and we were heading back to Adelaide after spending the weekend visiting family on a farm. To make the long drive more bearable, we had the radio playing in the background. It was Mom who first spotted it, 3 lights hovering out on the plain. She casually remarked, "I wonder where those folks are going," and we all glanced over, mildly interested. At first, we thought they might be cars driving along a farm road, but then, out of nowhere, one of the lights shot straight up into the sky. Dad couldn't help but blurt out the F word, and all 4 of us were left staring in amazement at the unexpected spectacle. Of course, Mom scolded Dad for cussing, though she was equally surprised. Despite the strangeness of it all, we weren't exactly scared. After all, the lights seemed distant enough not to pose any immediate threat. Dad speculated that it might be the Air Force conducting experiments in collaboration with the Americans. Australia has long been allied with the USA militarily, so it wouldn't be surprising if it were some sort of experimental secret vehicle. After all, no known airplane could accelerate so rapidly, he reasoned. As we continued our drive, we couldn't help but keep our eyes fixed on those lights, fascinated by the spectacle. This carried on for a few minutes. Though the lights seemed far in the distance, it almost appeared like it was matching our speed and direction. Then, without warning, all 3 of them shot off at incredible speed in different directions and vanished into the night sky. It was a truly bizarre sight that left us all puzzled. As we left the plains behind and entered a more hilly area, the road wound its way between these low hills, and that's when things took a strange turn. Approaching a bend, Dad pointed out a glow emanating from around the curve. Suddenly, the radio started crackling and then completely lost its signal. As we rounded the bend, we were met with the most otherworldly sight. In front of us, hovering over the road, was a stationary disc-shaped craft. It gleamed metallic under the glow of various white lights. We were in awe, but also shocked. What chilled us to the bone was what lay beneath it. A car, motionless on the road, bathed in the craft's eerie beam of light. The craft itself appeared to be about 100 feet above the ground, its diameter spanning roughly 200 feet, according to Dad's later estimate. We were about 200 meters away from the scene. At that very moment, our car seemed to lose power. We came to a standstill as the engine simply died on us. Through the stillness, we could make out the heads of the people inside the car under the craft. That image is seared into my memory like it happened just yesterday. The vehicle, a light blue Holden Kingswood, stood like it was captured. I was terrified. As if what we witnessed wasn't already eerie enough, it took an even more bizarre turn. The beam of light from the craft intensified, and suddenly, the Holden was lifted off the ground, hovering about 20 feet in the air. I can still hear Mom's panicked pleas for Dad to get us out of there, and Dad's frantic attempts to start the engine, but the car remained powerless. The starter refused to kick in. Just when we thought it couldn't get any more horrifying, another one of those crafts appeared, hovering directly over our car. And that's where our memory of that strange evening ends. Not one of us can recall anything beyond that point until the next morning. I remember waking up in the car as the morning sun rose, casting its early light over the horizon. Our car and the Holden in front of us were neatly parked on the side of the road. The occupants of the other vehicle seemed to wake up at the exact same time as us. We all stepped out of our vehicles, and the family of 5 looked surprised to see another car and family there. All they could recall was the sudden appearance of the light, their car's engine dying and nothing more, exactly like what happened to us soon after. Though I believe they were there quite a while before us, as we never saw their car ahead of us during our long drive up to that point. Everyone was highly disturbed, But the two families found solace in each other's company, instantly bonding over the shared experience. They were from Adelaide too, which made it easier to stay in touch. Eventually, my dad and theirs decided to keep the story from the press to protect their careers and families. My dad, a local doctor, and theirs, with a senior job in the bank, knew that going public might risk their credibility. They seriously considered going to the cops, but ultimately decided against it. Dad said the event was so surreal and unbelievable that the police would likely not believe them, and even if they did, there was nothing the cops could do anyway. Besides, except for being somewhat shaken by the events, it wasn't like any of us had any signs of trauma or injury. So the experience remained a secret between our two families. As for what happened after we lost consciousness that night, it remains a mystery, as none of us has ever had any recollection beyond that point. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe so we can bring you more of these testimonies.